Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. So this video is going to be about 5 ways to deal with betrayal. So betrayal is something that we all experience in our lives at some point. I'm going to be talking about my personal experiences and strategies I use to overcome and move forward. So what counts as betrayal? So betrayal is being dishonest, being disloyal and being misleading. So I've experienced a lot of betrayal in my life, and you always remember your first. So I really hope my cousin doesn't mind me telling this story if she ever sees this, but it's really important for me to tell this story because it's my first experience that I remember with betrayal. You guys are going to think this is so stupid, but basically I think it was when I was about 7 years old. So my cousin lived with me, we slept in the same room, we were just like sisters. So I don't know if kids still do this, but back in the day, you used to have McDonald's birthday parties and you'll get some little happy meal that will leave you hungry for the rest of the evening. So my cousin had one of those. So during the party, there's an opportunity for the birthday girl to invite one of her friends to have a milkshake. And when you're 7 years old, that's like super important to you. So I naturally assumed that my cousin would pick me to get the milkshake since we were best friends and we lived together, everything. I just thought, it was a given. So when it came round to it, she chose a girl from school to have the milkshake. And it was because the girl said something like, I won't be your friend until November. And it was January. So I was really hurt that I wasn't chosen. And I probably didn't talk to my cousin for about 2 days. And yeah, that's my first experience. I remember feeling betrayed. So why did I feel betrayed over a milkshake? Well, I think with betrayal, it's the first time you realise that you're not as important to somebody as they are to you. So it's a sense of rejection, and that's what hurts. And when we're rejected, we tend to question our value and worthiness. So how can we overcome betrayal? Well, I think it's really important first to validate your feelings. So when you experience betrayal, you go through a lot of emotions. So first of all, you feel shock because you can't believe that person did that to you. Then you feel anger because you feel like lashing out at that person or teaching them a lesson. Then you feel sadness because it comes from a sense of loss. So you might lose that relationship or you might lose respect for that person. Basically, the rose-tinted glasses will come off. Then there's shame because you're embarrassed that you didn't see what was coming and you didn't see the red flags. Then I would say there's a feeling of emptiness or numbness where you feel like that you're going to protect yourself and you're never going to get in that situation ever again. So you kind of numb yourself to all feelings. And then there's that insecurity that creeps in if you do build a relationship in the future with someone else. So you might be codependent or you might be avoidant in your relationship with a new person. And then finally there's acceptance. So it's when you accept what has happened and you move on and it no longer hurts as much. So all of these feelings are valid and normal. It's really important that we confront these feelings and go through them so that we can move forwards, because if you don't and you just ignore them, it's just going to be in your subconscious and it's just going to come out in your behaviours towards other people. So strategy number 2, maintain your integrity. So during the anger stage, you might feel like lashing out. So you might want to respond verbally or physically. And I would say that in most of my confrontations with people, I've been the bigger person. So I've been the one that's held back and not said all the things that I wanted to say, whilst the other person had no boundaries and just lashed out. And it really sucks being the bigger person. It really does, because you feel like a victim. You feel like you're allowing people to walk all over you and be a pushover. But honestly, in most cases, it's not worth it to sacrifice your integrity. You'll come out a lot better if you just keep it all together and don't let your emotions run away with you. So I know that I infuriate people when they argue with me because I don't get angry, I don't start swearing or shouting. I'm just quite logical and I stay quite calm and I'm not giving the emotions that the other person wants. So it does infuriate them and I think that leads them to lash out a lot more. But to be honest, I think that's the correct way to deal with things, because I just don't see the benefit of getting into a screaming match with anyone or doing things to get even with people. So I've always thought about what I would do if I was married and my husband cheated on me. And I really can't see myself getting angry, burning his stuff. I really think that if that ever happened to me, I would just walk away. So I'd just go quietly. He wouldn't even know what had happened. I would just delete him from everything. I would disappear. I think that's the way I would handle it. And I think that's the most dignified way to handle it. And even with friendships, I've had friends who had fallen out with, and I never screamed at them. I just removed myself. I removed them from social media, and I've moved on from that relationship. And that's just how I deal with it. I personally think that if you're screaming and losing control, it's quite embarrassing. And I just think it's important to do the right thing and be the best version of ourselves at all times. So the third strategy is to empathize with your betrayer. So this doesn't mean that you need to forgive them or let them back into your life. It just means that you have to understand where they're coming from. Trust me that there's a benefit to this. So basically, when someone does something to hurt us, we personalize it and we think it says something about us when actually it says something about the other person. So it's really important to figure out where they're coming from. So I had a friend who I had a confrontation with, and she started screaming at me and saying things that were out of order and throwing things that I told her back in my face. I was super angry and super hurt about it, but then I thought about where she was coming from. So her background wasn't that great. I don't think she communicated with her family very well. I think swearing was the norm in her household, and also she had mental health difficulties. So that says more about where she's coming from more than it says about me. And once I analysed the situation, I felt a lot better and I didn't personalise it so much. So empathy sets you free because, as I said before, it says more about them than it does about you. It's their integrity that's on the line, not yours. Number 4, don't confide in the wrong people. There's a possibility that your confidant sides with your betrayer. Trust me, it happened. It's like a double betrayal because you couldn't imagine that that person would go against you and not support you. So just be careful and choose wisely about who you confide in. Number 5, you don't have to forgive if you don't want to. So people like to peddle this idea that if you don't forgive someone, then you're never going to be happy and you'll never get over it. But I don't agree. I'm honestly not down with forgiveness for the most part. So if a person hasn't apologized, acknowledge where they went wrong or try to make amends, then I am not going to forgive them. And even if they do those things, then I'm still not obligated to forgive them. So for the most part, I'm not on board with forgiveness. I think it stops people from being accountable, and I think it enables people. So if you want to cut someone off who's betrayed you, cut them off. It's not petty. I swear it's not petty. It's just protection. You want to protect your mental health and protect your happiness. Some people view forgiveness as a strength. So if somebody forgives somebody, they're like, oh, you're so strong. But I don't see it that way. I see it as a weakness a lot of the time because I feel like people are uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. They don't like the idea of feeling negativity towards someone or not having a perfect relationship with somebody. So to patch that up, they quickly forgive the person. And I just don't think that's always the best method. And I don't think that's the healthiest way to deal with conflict. So you don't have to forgive if you don't want to. So betrayal is a natural part of human life. As humans, we're not perfect. And a lot of the time we do things for our own self-interest. I've learned never to completely trust people. I think that everybody's capable of betrayal. So it could be your parents, your sister, your boyfriend, your husband. Everybody is capable of betraying you. So I never want to be shocked ever again by what people do. Obviously, I will be shocked because you can't help it. But I never want to put it past somebody. And you've got to question yourself. Like, if you're married or you've got a partner, do you ever think about what you would do if your partner cheated on you? Do you think, oh, that would never happen? Or do you think about how you would respond to that situation? It might be quite negative, but I just think it's really important to think about how you would react in certain situations and think about what your boundaries would be. So I'll end the video on a positive note. So they say that when one door closes, another one opens, and I firmly believe that. So don't be afraid to lose relationships if it's not healthy for you. You might lose something, but then again you might gain something else. The universe favors balance. The betrayal hurts, but the pain will eventually subside, and you'll be able to find happiness again, but in another form. So I'm going to wrap it up here, but I really hope this video helps somebody in some way. So if you enjoy my content, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a good day.